Hey, I'm Danielle, and today I'm showing you some journaling exercises that'll help you reflect on your career and figure out what's next. So maybe you're avoiding this stuff, you don't even really want to think about where you're at in your career, or you love a good journaling exercise and it's always taking that next step that's more of a challenge, or maybe you're not really familiar with this kind of thing, you don't really do journaling exercises, but you're curious and you're interested to know more. So with wherever you're at, we are doing 3 simple exercises that'll help you get the ball rolling, and I am actually going to be doing them with you. So did I come up with these exercises myself? No, I'm taking them from the experts, more specifically 2 Stanford professors. I always talk about the book Designing Your Life, so these 2 Stanford professors who created the concept of design thinking that helps designers of all types go through a specific creative process. But they're specifically talking about using that process in designing your life. And they recently came out with a book, Designing Your Work Life. Here's the sleeve. This is the actual book. I kind of like this little visual that they have. It shows you are here, which is where everyone starts, right? Right where they are. I've got 1 exercise from the first book, which I got a few years ago and have been obsessed with ever since. And then 2 exercises from the more recent one, which I am currently working on reading. Now, all 3 of these exercises I've actually never done before, so you will try them for the first time right alongside me. But I've tried a bunch of their other journaling exercises, which are amazing, so we can definitely trust that these are amazing too. So the first exercise is coming from this original book, and it's called The Many Lives Reflection. And this is actually pre-work to something called Odyssey Planning, which I've talked about so many times before because I'm obsessed with it. And I talk about it in other videos, so definitely check that out so that you can go further in this process. But we are gonna start by taking the first 3 questions that they use in that process. So this is on page 90 of the book, and you see it says, embrace your multiple personalities. So if you feel multi-passionate, or you know that you probably have multiple interests, you definitely wanna do this exercise. Leading up to these questions, they kind of talk about how we live in these 2 to 4 year seasons in our careers and in our lives, and to figure out the next chapter, it's actually easier to figure out like 3 options instead of 1. 1 is restrictive and you feel like you have to pick the right thing, but when you come up with multiple, it just kind of opens the door a little bit more. So I am adding my own flavor to this, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna set a timer for 5 minutes and reflect on 3 different possibilities for our lives. So possibility number 1 is the thing that you do. So this is around either the type of work that you already do and what would that next step be, or it's the thing that you've been thinking about wanting to do for some time and what would that actually look like. So that's number 1. Life number 2 is the thing that you do if option 1 were suddenly gone. So let's imagine that the industry you're in, or the industry you're interested in, or job role, whatever, is suddenly just gone, out of the picture. Then what would be the next thing that you'd naturally want to do? This is like an open-minded thinking thing. And then life 3 would be the thing that you'd do, or the life that you'd live if money or image were no object. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write down these options and think openly about it for 5 minutes. For each of these 3 things, you're asking, what would my life look like? All right, get ready to set your timer for 5 minutes. Keep your pen moving the whole time, and our page will be full when we're done.
5 minutes later.
All right, 5 minutes is up, and my scribbly handwriting is all over this page. This one was interesting. I think either like my option 1 or option 2 could have flipped, but it was around like strengths assessments and stuff like that, which is one of my side gigs that I do. And then I feel like number 2 was maybe more of like my number 1, but either way, like went along with 2 things that I know are interests of mine. And thing number 3 was moving to Australia and living on the beach and like having a podcast or something and making friends around the world and reading personal development books. So obviously not a job, but you know, a girl can dream, right? What I think is an interesting takeaway from this for me is that I'm already thinking about multiple possibilities and I don't actually currently feel restricted with what I need to do. And then also I think like the thinking wild and open-minded is super helpful because maybe I need some more, you know, like world travel in my plans because I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm just thinking about, you know, what's in the next year or what's in the next 3 years. I do think it's important to like think really open about what's interesting to you, but also think through a few different options for like what's more in the near term or what's kind of the couple of options that I want to keep open. Again, these questions work really well in combination with the Odyssey planning exercise, so check out the other video I made about that. But we will move on to book number 2 and exercise number 2. And for this one, you get to pretend to be a DJ for a minute. I'll explain what the heck I mean by that. This next one is involves these different dials. It's called the Maker Mix dials in the book. And essentially you're thinking about how money, impact, and expression factor into your current job role or your previous job roles, and then what really is a good mix for you in looking at a future opportunity. So here's kind of the visual for that. So as you're gauging these dials, you're really thinking about what is a focus area in the different jobs. So I'm gonna draw those 3 columns 3 different times so I can think about a past job, my current job, and what I wanna see in the future. Okay, so Maker Mix dials. Here is my flawless drawing. That was sarcastic. We've got former job, current job, future job. We've got money, impact, expression. So go ahead and doodle this out if you haven't already, and then you're ranking where that job lands on each category. And give yourself a minute or two to do this, and then I'm also gonna write a few notes on the side and just little reflections about it. Dials are all done, and it was interesting how it came out because a former job that I had, which I knew was really fulfilling to me, actually matched my ideal for a future job. But the only thing with that situation is that the number of clients decreased at a certain point in time, and so it couldn't be full-time anymore. But as a full-time job, that sort of feeling and the way things worked out with money, impact, and expression really feel like a fit to me. I mean, obviously with these things, you want all of them to be at the top, but it's important to not put them at the exact same line, all 3 of them, because you want to think about like prioritizing them. And then the last one we're going to do is called the impact map, and I'm really interested to see how this one's going to turn out. And this impact map is about what type of impact you want to make. So I'll show you the chart. So you are going to map past roles and future possibilities on this map, and what we see on the x-axis is we see different types of ways to support a company or initiative. So you can be someone who renews and repairs. So that's someone who like repairs broken things in a facility, but it's also a brain surgeon. They repair. As you go towards the middle, you see sustain and support. So these are people who keep systems running, they maintain. And then there's new, and this is someone who creates new systems or invents in some way. And then on the y-axis, up and down, we see far and near. Yeah, we see far and near. And so far is, do you want to have a global impact? Do you want to basically broadcast your message? Or do you want to work near? Do you want to work in person, one-on-one, and everywhere in between? So as you think about different jobs where you felt like you were making a difference, or maybe you didn't, you want to put it on this chart in order to understand more deeply where you actually feel like you're making a difference, and where, based on your strengths and skills, do you really feel like you can make a difference. And there's no like right or wrong or better or worse. I mean, if you think about making a difference only in the near and the one-on-one in a like fixing situation, you would think that that's the least, but again, that's the brain surgeon. They can only work on one brain at a time and they are fixing something. There is no better or worse here. So let's draw this little chart in our journals and map out, let's say 3 past jobs, where they landed on this. And it could be like a thing that you did one time, like a gig or an internship or a full-time job that you had, or maybe something you did on the side, like a charity type initiative. And then let's do where we really want to see a future job or gig land on here. Okay, impact map. Put a few minutes on the clock, and here we go. This one's interesting, right? And it only took a couple minutes. I mapped out a few former jobs and actually a couple different areas that I want to see myself in the future. And the reason that I found this exercise really interesting, which actually I discovered it in the book when I was reading it last night, is because I thought about this before, like that x-axis of, are you better at fixing or like maintaining or creating? I'd thought about that before in some of the challenges that I was having with a job earlier on. And this idea really broke it down for me and helped me understand, you know, where is my sweet spot? I noticed, I think I like to be on this side of the chart. I want to be in the supporting area, but I also want to be in that creating area. And the way I mapped it with the 2 different areas I want to see in the future is at the one-on-one level, I want to support, but in the creating level, I would love for it to be global. I mean, who doesn't want to change the world, right? But yeah, how fun! I hope you like doing those exercises with me and taking a few minutes to journal and reflect. So where do we go from here? Well, I always think that reflecting is so important. And after you do reflect though, you wanna get out of your bubble. I mean, it's like very comforting to be in your safe zone, just reflecting and thinking and doodling and taking notes. But after that, we wanna go out on a limb. So what I always talk about is after that you want to do some research, still a little bit in your comfort zone. You want to have conversations with other people about career possibilities, and you want to get some hands-on experience, whether that's a personal project or shadowing or something that's actually getting you in that type of work you want to do in some small capacity. So if you want to know how the heck to do that, I do have other videos talking about it, so definitely check that out. I will link it and you will get all the details on where to go from here. But that's all for our little journaling session today. I encourage you to come back to these exercises maybe like every 4, 5, 6 months, maybe every year, and you are probably gonna get different answers because some things in your life, I'm sure, have changed in that period of time. We are constantly changing, so to redo some of these things is actually gonna be super helpful. And we will go ahead and leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and actually spending some time on investing in your career and reflecting on it and thinking about what's gonna be next for you. If you want more videos about personal growth and career development, then definitely click subscribe and you get more from me. And I hope that you have a lovely day. Bye.